You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks.
Welcome back to Gym Marketing Made Simple. I am your host for today's episode, Jeff Burlingame. And this is what I like to call Gym Sales Made Simple. It's where we take a step back and we just focus on the sales process as far as developing selling skills in your staff, hiring and training staff, creating an effective process that gets you consistent results, and of course, helping you overcome, objections and things like that, but to a lesser extent, because if you have a great process, the sales just happen. We want to get you to a point where buying from you becomes a no-brainer. And that is something that we are putting together on this podcast. So anytime you see me, this is what we're going to be focusing on. And, speaking of the sales process, that is what today is all about. And there's one underlying message that I really want to make sure gets across for everybody listening. And that is that the process is the process is the process. And if you really ingrain that, one, in your brain, but two, in your team's brains, then you're going to get more consistent and better results. And what we're really saying when we say the process is the process is the process is that we don't skip steps. We don't cut corners. We have a process, we know it works, and we stick to it. Now, you could be listening right now and saying, well, what if I don't have a process? Well, that's part of what we'll get into talking about today, because you need one. That is something that we really need to focus on. Anybody who joins Lasso, that is one of the first things that we set up with them. And that is one of the things that I am responsible for. So when you join Lasso, you're going to work with me. We're going to do a sales audit. I'm going to go through what your process is, or if we're lacking it, we're going to set an action plan together, and we're going to decide how are we going to move forward to create that process, to make sure that it's effective, to ensure that it stays effective, and to make sure that your entire staff understands it and embodies it. And they do that every single day when they are inside of your business. So big question right now for you would be, do you feel like you're winging it? Are we just making it up as we go? Do we feel like one person on staff, maybe you, has the process, but it's in their brain? It's not documented. It's not written down. It's not being trained effectively with your staff or with new members of staff. And at the end of the day, if it's not written down, then how could we ever hope for it to be consistent? It won't be, right? And maybe you're experiencing this right now. And if you are, that's okay. Part of, moving forward and growing and scaling a business is recognizing those opportunities for improvement. And this would certainly be one if you don't have that documented, if we don't have that process written down. So let's talk about that. Let's figure out how we're going to get this set up. Number one, you want to make sure that you just start by writing everything down. So let's just go step by step, right? Step one, write it down. Whatever you're doing right now, good or bad, doesn't matter, because we can only scale or improve once it's documented. So whatever you are doing now, just write that down. So how does somebody join your gym? What does that look like? How do they typically find you? They find you on social media, through an ad on your website. Is it referrals, bring a friend day, whatever it is? How do people find you? And that could be a smattering of things, right? It could be all of those things I just mentioned. It could be other things that I didn't mention. Whatever it is, write all those things down. So people find us by this, right? Through this process. Once they find you, what do? Do they click a join now button? Is there a free trial? Is there a paid trial? Is there a transaction that occurs? Do they get a call from you or one of your team members? Is that what you would call a discovery call or a clarity call? How long is that call? What is said on that call? What is covered on that call? And then what happens at the conclusion of that call? So you hit them up and you go through what we might call a clarity or discovery call. It's like 3 to 5 minutes long. Get a little bit of information out of them, and then you book a true sales conversation, which could be a no sweat intro, It could be a sample workout, a little one-on-one. It could be a group workout. It could be a trial. It could be a paid trial, whatever that is. So it's like step one, they find us. Step two, we get to know them. Step three, they book the intro. Step four, they show up for the intro. Step five, we go through the intro process and it looks like this from step one of the intro process, right? Step one, all the way through step 22, whatever it is. Outline all of those steps of your intro process. What happens? What are the expectations? What are the outcomes that you're looking for? And then what happens at the end of that appointment? Is a transaction made? Is a follow-up appointment booked? You see where I'm getting at with this? And I can go on forever because it's just a system. It's a process. It's a system. It's something put in place that has a step 1 through step 26, and then there's sub steps to each of those. It's an SOP, right? And if we understand that and then we write it down, now we can take a step back. We can look at the thing as a whole and we can say, okay, here's what we're doing right now. What is working of the things that we are doing right now? What is not working of the things that we are doing right now? Now, if we're an insane person, we're going to keep doing things that don't work and hoping for different results. Okay. So if you look over the process and you say, man, I feel like, and so does my team, we've all gotten this feedback. Every time we do this, we get this negative outcome. And if I'm getting this negative outcome, then it would make sense that I would kill that step. That step goes away. It's done. And if you don't need to replace it, then it stays gone. If you need to replace that step with something else that works better, then do that. Then swap it out. That's fine. But again, if we don't write all this down and look at the process as a whole to see how all of these pieces are kind of intermingling and fitting together, then we have no hope of improving or scaling that process. So start by writing it all down. Okay. And then evaluating, like I said, what's working, what's not working. And once we've done that, now we're going to add in some of the improvements. So let's go through and let's make those improvements. If we have to add in some more complexity to those steps. So it could go from checkbox task oriented to if this, then that, right? If they say this, then you say this. If they ask for this, you reply with this. If they come in and they have this injury or this ailment, then you will do this. So those are the complexities that often need to be added into systems. And, you know, if they're not documented, again, they're one of those things that just lives in somebody else's brain. It's out there, the information exists, somebody understands it. But if you bring on a new member of staff, how are we training that person? If there's only one person that can train that person and it's not you, the owner, I'm assuming, and they leave, then what? What do we do, right? This used to be called like the hit by a bus test. So if I have this all documented and every member of my staff understands it and they follow it and the process is the process of the process, and that's like just a mantra ingrained in all of our brains, then if the person who does the training is hit by a bus, then everybody else on the staff still understands what needs to be done and it still gets done, right? So that's sort of the level of detail that we want to get to. Now, with that too, you're going to need to constantly review, update, and improve this process. Things will change. You'll get more feedback as you add in other members of staff. When it's not you, you're going to get somebody who maybe isn't so good at sales. What do we do to help them with that? What parts of the process can we simplify so that even a person with a lower skill set can close deals? There's a way around that. So you need to constantly have this cycle of getting feedback and making updates and getting feedback and making updates. One of the best ways that we can do that is by simply booking a sales team meeting every single week. And my recommendation is always that you put this early in the morning on a Monday. So get all the staff members that are involved in selling. So that could be anybody involved in or has touch points with trials, intros, discovery calls, clarity calls, lead nurture, the ads, all of that. It's one big ecosystem. That might be just you right now, right? So I have a meeting with myself. Well, yeah, actually, you need to block this time off. You sit down, you go over your analytics, and you figure out through the process what's working, what's not working, make the improvements. If multiple people are involved, then we all sit down together and we do the same thing. We review, we get feedback, we improve. And beyond that, you can also utilize this time for something extremely valuable when it comes to sharpening your selling skills. and that is to role play. So you can take a I don't know, 30-minute block of the 1 hour meeting. So we structure out 60 minutes. In the beginning, we're going to have like 5 minutes of review of what happened last week. We're going to have 5 minutes of let's define what went well, what didn't go well. Let's have 5 minutes to define any outlying problems, right? What are the issues that we have come up with? And then let's outline the rest of the 15 minutes there of that 30-minute segment to solve or at least discuss and potentially solve those issues that we've uncovered. And then the remaining 30 minutes of the hour block now are dedicated to role play, where you'll sit down and you'll role play out scenarios within the sales process that you and or your team struggle with. So if that specifically is objections or uncovering SMART goals or unlocking people's desire, right? Like that true emotional want when it comes to their goals. If you struggle with those things, then take the time, be very specific and very intentional with this, but say today we're going to work on X and we're only going to do X for 30 minutes. And we're going to start with this person role playing with this person. Go. Everybody else, stay quiet and listen, pay attention. Try to, take notes and then provide feedback to the participants of the role play immediately after the role play is done, when it's fresh in their brain. And then you can help them improve. If you have the opportunity or the time available during that little block as well, I would also say have them repeat. We've all heard of drive-by coaching, right? So we don't want to just roll through our class and say, elbows locked out, knees out, toes forward, head back, whatever, and you just walk by and you don't pause and stare at them and make sure they do the thing you just asked them to do and then correct them if you need to and then move on, right? The person who just says, hey, butt back, and then walks away without paying attention, that's a drive-by coach. So we don't want to do that during our sales training calls either. We want to take that time and say, hey, next time I want you to try this. And by next time, I mean now. So let's jump back into the role play. Try this in like a live format. And that's where you're going to get much better results from your staff and, for yourself. And if you don't have anybody to role play with, you're a member of a community. Reach out to another gym owner, connect with them, hop on a call, review your analytics together if you're comfortable with it. If they're not a direct competitor, why not? And then you can also just role play with them. It's an easy thing to do. You can hop onto my sales office hours if you're working with us at Lasso. So every other week, we hop on for an hour. And during that time, we can do that role play, or you can send your staff and I'll role play with your staff. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to work around this. You're not on an island. You're not alone. There's a community here for you, and we can help out for sure. Another thing that I'll just throw into the whole process situation here, and then we'll wrap things up for today, is that I would love to see more gyms doing what I call the debrief. So after every intro or trial process, sit down with your staff members that were involved. And again, like we were talking about here, this is more of a weekly format, but this debrief, this is a daily format. It doesn't take long, just a couple minutes, take a couple notes, save it for the big meeting, and you can, identify, discuss, and solve any problems that arise from this. But sit down with them and say, and ask them. Don't just tell them, ask them. What do you feel went well? What do you feel you struggled with? What do you feel are opportunities for improvement next time? Take some notes, review it on the big meeting the following Monday, and you're good to go. That's all I got for you guys today. Again, very simple concept, right? It is not easy to implement though. So with everything we just talked about today, the first thing you got to do is just write down everything you do, document it all. Then we can go back and we can review that. If you work with Lasso right now, hop on my sales office hours every other Wednesday and let's break it down together. Let's go through your process together and I can help you highlight where your potential deficiencies are and what you can do to improve that. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If so, of course, be subscribed to the podcast. Stay tuned for future episodes. And if you haven't yet, check out Lasso. We'd love to work with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's lassoframework.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.